Three different jobs in the Navy, three different levels of training and experience, one common connection, Jacksonville. During this week of Valor leading up to Veterans Day, we want to honor all veterans by showing you, in this case, these three sailors with an affection for Northeast Florida. One sailor saves people from a helicopter.
I'm a rescue swimmer in the United States Navy, so air crewman, some people like to call it.
Another sailor used to fly helos, and now he guides a 100,000-ton ship that can move at speeds of more than 30 knots.
So I am a commander, and my job description, I am the ship's navigator.
I met those men during a trip to Norfolk, Virginia, as part of a program organized by Naval Air Force Atlantic. They call it Sailor for a Day, and the three-day experience included a trip out to the ocean and time aboard this aircraft carrier. One of the goals for this Sailor for a Day program that brought us aboard the Harry S. Truman is to get to meet sailors from our area who are doing amazing things, including a young man you're going to meet who went to Jacksonville University, and as part of a crew aboard that plane with the radar dish atop it, an E-2D Hawkeye.
All right, so we're on the hangar bay deck of the USS Harry S. Truman. This is where we store aircraft that aren't necessarily going to be flying this day.
Brian Ferdon Jr. has multiple connections to Northeast Florida. For instance, grade school in Jacksonville, then 4 years and a degree from Jacksonville University, including a full ride. Now, not an ROTC scholarship with the Navy, but as a trumpet player and a music major. He interned with the Jacksonville Symphony just before he graduated in 2013. So the natural question is, well, how do you go from music business major to being flying for our Navy off an aircraft carrier?
In 2013, the market wasn't looking very good for symphonies. The Jacksonville Symphony was having a hard time, and there are a lot of symphonies all around the country that were either on blackout or on strike for various reasons, mostly economic.
Ferdon applied to the Navy for multiple positions, including flight officer, and now he's an air control officer in the back of this aircraft.
So this is an E-2D Advanced Hawkeye. It does airborne early warning and command and control.
And that plane has another Florida connection. It's built at the Northrop Grumman facility at the airport in St. Augustine. Ferdon tries to play music when he can, but with his squadron aboard the carrier, he's focused on an incredibly important role.
So I'm an air control officer, so I'm responsible for maintaining situational awareness to our operation area and what we're responsible for, and then directing our assets to carry out the mission as assigned by the chain of command. A lot of times that comes in the form of doing air intercept control, directing F-18s to defend the carrier.
So the ship's navigator encompasses quite a bit. I mean, most people would think navigation of ship, right, getting us from point A to point B. There's a lot of coordination that goes into that.
Commander Jeff Ketchum manages a team to guide the ship, but his role is bigger than that.
I'm also in charge of all the bridge teams, so all the bridge watchstanders you see out here that are actually driving the ship, I'm responsible for their standardization and training to ensure that they have the tools and resources necessary to function and do what they need to do safely and effectively.
Ketchum calls Jacksonville a second home, spending about 8.5 years of his time in the Navy, either at Mayport or Naval Station Jacks.
Flying helicopters off the beach, Jacksonville Beach, up and down. Certainly all the operational areas there as an instructor pilot for both teaching new students how to fly the H-60, as well as operational tours out of there during my time. It's great. I love Jacksonville.
While this helicopter doesn't operate off an aircraft carrier, Ponte Vedra's Ryan Johnson has been as busy as any sailor in the past few months. Helicopter Sea Combat Squadron 28 saved lives in Hurricane Harvey.
No, it was around-the-clock rescues. I mean, you had crews getting 50 rescues in a day, around the clock, literally from 6 o'clock that morning, and I was flying sometimes until 3 o'clock at night.
Helicopters like this, and this specific one, were deployed to help people, to do this, to rescue people when it came to recovery from things like Hurricane Harvey in Texas, when it came to Irma throughout Florida, when it came to Maria, Jose, other disasters like this. And the crew chief aboard a helicopter in this squadron, 28 here based out of Norfolk, is somebody from Ponte Vedra Beach. When I asked him about lives being saved, he said that he and his teammates refused to be called heroes, even though they are. Now, Texas was the kind of mission that any rescue swimmer wants to accomplish. It's also an indication of the character for this sailor and the men and women who serve the country.
Especially after what you guys did in Harvey and Irma. Are you and the people around you, are you guys heroes?
I wouldn't say that, no. I mean, we did our job. I wouldn't call us heroes. Being humble is the #1 thing about being a rescue swimmer. If you want reward and you want other things, this isn't the job for you.
How about that humble attitude, right? So that helicopter squadron we were telling you, it also responded to the Florida Keys after Hurricane Irma. You know, there are so many different jobs to perform as a member of the Navy and then throughout the branches of America's military. So in my final story on this trip to Norfolk and then the USS Harry S. Truman, you're going to get a look at F-35s, the next generation fighter jets that could be coming to our area. I'm even going to show you what it's like to fly one. That's tomorrow on the 10 o'clock news. Best thing about that trip, I mean, all those sailors who were just so passionate about what they're doing, and they really put their best foot forward to say, I'm really excited about, A, what I'm doing here on a ship or on the base or on a helicopter, and I'm really excited to be from or have that connection to Jacksonville.
And you kept bumping into them, all from our area.
Yeah, when we went into the galley, you know, where they're preparing the food aboard the aircraft carrier, at one point we just said, hey, anybody here from Jacksonville? A couple, yeah, right over here. So just about anywhere we would go aboard the Truman, we'd find people saying, hey, yeah, I'm from Northeast Florida.
And all of this, so cool. What impressed you the most during your trip?
We showed you last night the flight operations. That was really cool. But I think part of what you just heard from those sailors was that spirit of achieving and humility at the same time. No, it's not about me. It's about this bigger purpose we have. We're protecting and defending the nation, and then we're helping people wherever we can. Pretty cool.
That was a great story.